$1.7 million for a public toilet causes stink in San Francisco. They must be feeling flush. San Francisco politicians have created a huge stink after agreeing to spend $1.7 million on a single public toilet, with even a local resident who campaigned for it gasping. This S is expensive. Like, can you imagine that? That your tax paying dollars went to fund a $1.7 million public restroom. That is so beyond moronic. Why? You could probably rent, I don't know, like an outhouse, stick it anywhere pretty much for a couple $100. Like, you can literally just have that in multiple spots in one location for thousands of percent cheaper than doing this. Like, this is just beyond stupid. Okay? So, despite a crippling rise in crime and homelessness across the California city, lawmakers bragged to the San Francisco Chronicle about securing the staggering amount for a single toilet in 150 square feet of space. So to put that into like perspective, this is like two kind of nice sized closets stuck together, which is so stupid. They told me $1.7 million, and I got $1.7 million. Democratic Assembly member Matt Heaney proudly told the paper of the state funding he had to log for the loo. I didn't have the option of bringing home less of the bacon when it comes to building a toilet. A half a toilet or a toilet maybe someday is not much use to anyone, he said. And the potty price tag involves several rounds of reviews and evaluations, also meaning completion will be stalled until at least 2025. Hey, to put into perspective whenever you stumble upon this was filmed at 10/20/2022. So in 3 years, this one toilet that cost 1.7 million will be potentially done. It takes you 3 years to build a stupid toilet. It is so stupid. And the biggest thing about this story is that when you make policies that make it very hard for people to build things, when you put so much regulation on things, when you basically have the government pretty much in charge of every single aspect of basically everything in your state, this is the outcome, right? Not to mention the extremely high cost of basically anything in that state, right? Your state government needs to learn how to, I don't know, not get involved with things. Just so crazy. Haney, who campaigned on homelessness and housing, insisted he was responding to loud and clear local demand for the toilet. But here's the thing, who in their right mind would be like, you know what? It is an amazing idea to spend nearly $2 million on a single public toilet. By the way, since this is basically going to be built by pretty much, or overseen pretty much by the government, it probably won't even work by the end of it. So it was quickly poo pooed by locals, with Chronicle columnist Heather Knight ripping the deal as mind boggling, maddening, and encapsulate so much of what's wrong with our city government. Instead of a toilet maybe in more than 2 years, that cash could have paid to house a family instead, the columnist said, even in this wildly overpriced city. By the way, another way to look at it, you could have potentially just bought a warehouse on the street and converted it into multiple bathrooms for public use. You could have literally done that, and that probably would have been cheaper. And by probably, I mean it would have definitely been cheaper. Like you could have done this to like an abandoned warehouse. Like sometimes the stupidity of these states, of these governments, are just so mind-boggling, annoying. Todd David, a No Valley resident who pushed for the toilet for years, told the paper that the price tag's a shocking number. Oh my god, this S is expensive, he said. The columnist requested quotes from other builders, with one Tom Hardiman of the Modular Building Institute telling her, I'm going to guess high, I think, say $200,000. Told the actual figure was 8.5 times as much, he asked, what are they making it out of? Gold and fine Italian marble? It would be comical if it wasn't so tragically flawed. Like, think about that, right? There's builders that basically said, like, I'm going to guess pretty high, 200K, right? And to me, 200K is super expensive for a toilet. But I could kind of understand $200,000 for it being in California with basically like the real estate cost is beyond stupid. But not only that, the legal hurdles that you have to actually go through to actually build basically anything in California is beyond absurd, right? But still, like, there's no reason that a toilet for public use should cost nearly 2 million. So the city's parks and public works departments confirmed the figure while stressing it was an extremely rough estimate that budgets for the worst case scenario that could inflate cost. Except for I bet you that this is actually going to cost more than $2 million by the time it's actually done. And by the time it's actually done, I bet that it probably won't even really function correctly most of the time. Right? So it covered not just for erecting the toilet, but includes the clogged up process of planning, drawing, permits, reviews, and public outreach, the city told the Chronicle. Once those strained steps are completed, the bathroom will be built by unions whose workers will earn a living wage and benefits, including paid sick time, leave, and training. While this isn't the cheapest way to build, it reflects San Francisco's values, the departments told the paper. Now, here's the thing, right? To me, if you're just making like a public restroom, you should be able to build that within 6 months. Probably a lot less. If this is a public restroom, you know it's going to get messed up. So you want to find something that can be easily taken care of on the cheap, right? This isn't like a bathroom for the uber wealthy. This is the bathroom for public use, right? For anyone to use it that needs to use a darn bathroom, right? Why make it expensive? Why? Right? You want it to be easily and cheaply taken care of, right? It's basically like saying like, hey, you know what? We are going to have a public car for use. but that public car is actually going to be a Lamborghini, right? Instead of, I don't know, like a pre-owned Honda Civic, right? It's like, oh yeah, we're going to have to pay to take care of that Lamborghini, pay for the gas, pay for the insurance, pay for the maintenance, blah 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 nonstop, right? Instead of buying a pre-owned Honda Civic and just maintaining it on the cheap and basically not caring too much if it gets a little bump or scratch because it was designed to be cheap to maintain, right? So if there's like a little scratching here, if there's a little, I don't know, marking of some sort of group or whatever, there, it's not that big of a deal. You could just quickly paint over it or spray paint it over it for like $1, $2, $3, right? And there you go, right? Like there is no reason for something like this to cost so much money. And this is why, one, your local elections for basically anything government related or socially related is very important, right? More so typically than national stuff. Also, you should probably either not live in a city or a state that thinks that this is a smart idea, right? Like, this is just beyond ridiculous. And to be frank, if this happened where I lived, I'd be pretty pissed off, right? It's like, you're going to spend my taxpayer money on this, and it's going to take you 3 years to do it? Like, are you guys incompetent? Like, what is going on here? Is there corruption? Probably. Is there just like legal issues? Definitely. Like what is the purpose for something like this to cost so much money, take so long to actually be done, when it could have been solved basically in a day, right? Because again, you could have just rented little outhouses, right? Like you could rent those things, or you could just buy them and just like pay someone to basically clean them out every week, right? Why not just do something like that? It'd be so much cheaper. You could basically have pretty much like a parking lot area and just do those, construction outhouse things, right? That would have been so much cheaper. You would have had more bathrooms, more people could have used it. It would make more sense. Like, there's no reason for anything public related to cost $1.7 million. It's just so stupid.